actually meant to ask you about this, Mike, because I know you have a faith in Catholicism, and I was like, do you not find that very strange? Because anyone can take
Mhm.
anyone's profile and say who they are on Spaces. We have no way of verifying it.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, then you can continue. It was just to clarify, but I think is it Mike has half clarified it. This man called Father Chris, the child trafficker helper person. I can't believe it. This he's pretending he's a priest or some
Well,
holy.
Jane, I absolutely agree with your feelings about Father. Is it Chris?
Chris, yes.
Yeah. Now, I have been following him and listening to him for a little while because I am a religious person, so I always give people of the cloth, respect. He does post lots of psalms and prayers. But I've also heard him on Spaces, and he very clearly states that he's here to understand the other side of the trans issue, which means he already understands the trans issue. If he's going into the women's spaces, he's trying to understand what our issue is. So that automatically makes me feel a bit like,
We've seen, and I've only returned since November, we've seen a pattern here. It's recognizable for sure, but it still is if women go to these spaces that are hosted by these men who spend ages just quietly loitering in somebody who's not going to kick them out, like me, for example, and they stay and they stay and they stay and then they take the mic and then it goes out. I guess it's those women's choices to do that, and I think we have to understand in this kind of like loose connectedness of women's network on Twitter that some will kind of like do that, and then pop into somebody else's space, another woman's space. When they do that, they are known for that. So I think it's just to be kind of like aware. But I can't believe it. This Chris person, I throw my hat in, but I've got a zero tolerance. Blah blah blah.
well, I
About
think
anyway. Sorry to
actually, I
interrupt.
think
Mike.
Jane, in fairness, I think actually your analogy of him and what he is doing by coming in slowly and listening, then working up to the occasional conversation. Now he's getting a voice because I've heard lots of his chats. I've heard a lot of what he's saying, and he doesn't speak like a priest to me.
If you look at it from my perspective, I go into Mike's spaces and Mike will give me the mic if I ask for it. And we've had words about Mike's behaviour, and he knows where I stand on some of the stuff that he's done. And he knows I'm very blunt about it, and sometimes I DM him about it. He can clarify this or not. And I've said it openly in spaces. So I can't really be a hypocrite and not have him come in if everyone was, on agreement. I'll take the flak for it and not give
Well,
him
listen, Nate, in
So
fairness, I was going to say, I haven't even been on Spaces in the last few months, and I've heard about Mike's behaviour. But I'm with Nay on this one, I will be honest. Whilst Nay said she would go for Phil. Phil has not been disrespectful. He's been, conductive to the conversation. But I think that some of the ladies feel that some of Mike's conversation, now I haven't even been on Twitter and I've heard it. And I think some of his words, some of his conversation and his feeling towards women is what makes them feel that maybe they don't want him in this space right now. But I mean, if you want to feel free to remove yourself, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, not a problem. I
Thank you,
was I
Mike,
was
for your
asked about
time.
Father
No,
Father Chris. Um,
okay, but we
if
don't
you
want
if you tell
Mike,
him to leave, he
in
will
fairness,
absolutely. That's
In
not a
fairness, I'm
problem.
going to give you the respect, and we
Yeah,
would like you to
well,
leave now. Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Mike. Take
You can
care.
block my account, ma'am. You can block my account.
I won't
Thanks,
block you.
Nay.
I'm not a child, but thank
No,
you for your time tonight, but not
appreciate
tonight.
it.
This is not for you tonight. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Stay
Bye.
safe. Bye bye.
Can I know people have got their hands up, but can I just say something because my phone's about to die?
Go
Um,
for it.
Yeah, no, I was going to leave anyway because and I know Mike's gone now, and I would have said it to him, but it's just like I find him to be quite cruel.
You guys, my impressions of Mr. Chris. Now he was doing a thing where he was asking to have our side, to understand our perspective, right? And it's completely disingenuous. I'm just telling you guys, it's not honest at all. So, like, I was in a space with EJ and some quote unquote true transsexuals, and just kind of curious and wanting to think, like, share my views, right? And he poses the questions to the room, like, I'd like to understand the perspective from a real TERF, right? And I'm like, okay, let me talk. Can I reply? And I explained to him, and he fucking hated it. And the reason why, I think, is because I'm also very anti-theist. I'm very anti-religious. And I told him in the same way, this is all based on truth. I'm a cult survivor, that I built my life on the importance of truth. Just like I'm not going to lie, no matter how much it makes another person feel bad. I really dislike the word father. And I said, I told him, I'm not going to call you father because he ain't my daddy. It's just, and he's like, but that's my title. But that's my title. Like, he said, that's not really what I wanted to hear. I would like to hear from a real TERF. So it's just not honest, not good at all. And I think it's also really funny too. He was saying like, well, what if the way he phrased it was like, well, what if I don't pronoun a trans woman like they want, that I won't be able to reach them with my mission?
I would say that this person might just be sneaking, if I'm honest. And it's not somebody I would welcome into my spaces. I mean, I was born Roman Catholic, and I then transferred to Christian, just English Christian. And I mean, gratefully, because the services are a hell of a lot less. So I'm grateful for that. But I don't attend church at the moment because they allow paedophiles to sit in church. So that's a whole different story. But the way this gentleman speaks doesn't speak like any vicar, any father, anybody that I've ever had, like, even going as far as, you know, other religions. He doesn't speak like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
In the name of tolerance, we're being intolerant of any form of common sense.
It is absolutely insane.
Anyway, all of you, thanks for bearing with me, and good night for now.
Thanks, Phil.
Hey, Dante, you had your hand up. You want to speak?
Well, yeah, but first of all, I've got to let it out. That was a little bit annoying because you just spent 12 minutes, you know, giving me a rundown on all that's been going on. I don't know, there's about 30 of us in the room, other people who didn't need to hear it because we already know it. So for this one person, but then with his closing statements, it's blatantly obvious that he's just a fucking player and he knew what was going on. He just came out with, oh yeah, I work for blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? And it came out with his little, oh, bye for now. For now, he'll be back. It's just another one. We just got played. Or, not me. Oh, I was in on it as well. I got played as well. But for God's sake, I just had to let that out. But you were asking, did I have an opinion on Father Chris? Well, yeah, of course I have. I'm the one who brought him up in the first place. As just a bloody another one. It's just ridiculous. You know, I listened to the space that he was in, and he was just as raucous as all the bloody transgender. He was getting down, having a fine old time, you know, whiskey and wine with a load of blimmin' transgenders and mocking women. It was just, it's absurd. I can't, that people even need to become peaked about these individuals. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I just kind of was a bit suspect of a father coming into spaces. It just didn't seem normal behaviour to me. So I kind of get that. I just find it very strange.
Yeah, and what this guy does is tell stories about young women, young vulnerable women who he's interacted with who needed his help. He's a complete fantasist. You know, obviously those dramatic, you know, on a cold dark night, I had to chase her and all this crap. And she was frightened, didn't know if I was a pimp or a priest, and you're like, for fuck's sake, he's
He
ridiculous.
just sets all the red flags. Oh my god, so bad. That's the Chris guy. He does that.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
that's his MO.
All the ick, because you know he was saying to me like he was condescending to me that I don't know what a mission is, you know, but that just tells it all right there, what his missions are. Do you know what I mean?
Guys, you won't want me to promote this, but
yeah,
it's on Lady Lament's channel. If you want to hear him interacting with the transgenders and Fruella and Chandler,
yeah, I have
the
nothing
young
to hide.
girl. He's
Nothing
very
to hide.
fond of Chandler.
I just think it's really interesting that he got kicked from here and he's still like, I didn't think I even spoke yet, so he must have had an alt who was listening.
These freaking weirdo men seem to be so. They seem to be just one after another, after another, after another, latching on to groups of women. I mean, I don't know, man. Look, if it was up to me, I would say, women, stop giving men the control of the spaces. Do you know what I mean? Because it just seems to be one after the other. It was the Mark dude and the Ollie dude and whatever other dude. It's just like this constant cycle of men that come in that are throwing up red flags left, right, and centre, and all the women just go, "Oh, look, oh, he's lovely, really," and you're like, "Oh, well, I don't know."
Yeah, I definitely think there's paid people that come on. I think they're agitators. I definitely have thought that. I thought Ollie was, most definitely. I think he's been the biggest one. And there were a couple of others, but they seem to have disappeared.
Well, welcome back, Anne-Marie. I've really missed your voice, and I'm so happy about your new house.
And we talked about Father Chris as well.
Yeah, Mr. Chris.
Everyone gave an opinion. Yeah, what do you think about him, Fruella?
Spidey senses have now kind of come up a bit. I was in one space with him, which you know, and I kind of thought he was a bit interesting. But then he did that man thing, which is consume the whole conversation, and then I just dropped out. And then there's been a couple of times when I've either set up a space or I've been in a space, and because he follows me, he's kind of come in, and then we've changed the subject to female only, but a bit keen, but I haven't a keynote. But I haven't been around him since that one space, and he just likes to. I don't know, men who like the sound of their own voices so much trouble me, and I'm also not sure about his story now and the way he dominates. So that's how I feel based on that one space, and then how he's behaved outside of that. I don't know about if anyone else has come across him. How about you, Domestic?
Obviously, I hate his guts.
Have you encountered him more than once?
Domestic, can you get off the fence, please? Domestic, get off the fence.
Sorry, Anne-Marie?
I said, Domestic, can you get off the fence, please? You're getting splinters now, babe. Come on now.
No, I haven't interacted with him, but I saw the space where he was calling out for my name and bringing my ovaries into disrepute, and acting like a complete. He's vile. He's absolutely vile. I was disgusted, regardless of any affiliation to any religious order. I couldn't give two fucks, mate. Just the behaviour was just gross from a man, an older man. I just thought, what a slime ball.